Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 15th. I'm Jasmine Anderson. It's sentencing day for the Shirley man behind a drive-by shooting outside former Congressman Lee Zeldin's home. 20-year-old Noah Green is due in court today. His plea deal calls a 12-year sentence. Green admitted to attempted murder after shooting two men in the chest outside Zeldin's Shirley home in 2022. Prosecutors say the former Long Island congressman was not a target, but his daughters were at home during the shooting. No word what caused a deadly crash on the Southern State Parkway. State police say one person was killed in a single car crash here in North Massapequa last night. It happened on the eastbound side of the parkway near exit 30. Police have not released the driver's identity. A search today for what sparked a deadly house fire in Wisconsin. Police say first responders pulled 62-year-old Thomas Walls from his burning home on Highland Place yesterday evening. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The deadline to register to vote is coming up. New Yorkers have until early voting begins on October 26th to register. It runs through November 3rd. Election Day is November 5th. For a link to register, go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. Celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day here on Long Island. Members of the Shinnecock Nation, other indigenous communities, and Southampton residents came together yesterday here at Agawam Park. Organizers said the event was a way to showcase their culture and cultivate relationships with the community.
It's a wonderful opportunity for people who may not have relationships with Indigenous people or Indigenous communities to come and learn about those communities and also just cultivate relationships, learn a little bit about our history, our shared history as community members, and the history of this country.
The event included traditional music, dance, and food. We're one step closer to a potential Subway World Series with big wins by the Mets and Yankees. We begin in the Bronx with Eric Boland, where the Bombers are looking to take a two-game lead in the ALCS tonight.
To his detriment, Carlos Rodon has been impacted before by the emotions that he wears on his sleeve during the heat of competition between the lines. He has talked about how he doesn't always handle things the best when things go against him. Most recently in his Game 2 start of the Division Series against the Royals when he became completely unraveled after Salvador Perez led off the fourth inning with a home run. But Carlos Rodon, he talked about learning from that and channeling all of his energy to the plate. And he followed through on that game plan to a T tonight against the Cleveland Guardians in Game 1 of the ALCS. Struck out 9 over 6 brilliant innings. At one point retired 11 straight before allowing a home run leading off the 6th inning. But at that point, the Yankees were still well on their way to their 5-2 victory. That home run leading off the 6th only cut it to 4-1. The Yankees bullpen took it from there, and they have a real good opportunity now to seize control of this ALCS because they have their ace, Garrett Cole, who has always pitched well against Cleveland going in game number 2. So the Yankees on Tuesday night look to take a 2-0 lead in the American League Championship Series. Reporting from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, this is Eric Boland for Newsday TV.
Let's see what they can do, Eric. Thank you. The Mets have evened things up with the Dodgers. Tim Healy is at Dodger Stadium with what's next.
The Mets are coming home after what was ultimately a successful 48-hour trip to Los Angeles. They lost Game 1 of the NLCS to the Dodgers, but they took Game 2. It wasn't the prettiest, but it was a win, which is what matters most. So the Mets, by doing that, did what any road team wants to do at the beginning of a 7-game series: split the first 2. Now, the Mets have home field advantage, and one of their better starting pitchers, Luis Severino, former Yankee, going in Game 3 at Citi Field on Wednesday.
They outplayed us pretty much yesterday. You know, they came out aggressive and they kept putting on us, and it was a quick turnaround, but we've done that the whole year. We get punched in the face and we continue to find ways to get back up.
The Mets took a late flight back to New York, landing early Tuesday morning. They'll have an optional workout Tuesday afternoon, evening, and then get back to it. Wednesday night at Citi Field, Thursday night at Citi Field, Friday afternoon, evening, night at Citi Field. It's going to be a full 3 days of baseball in Queens, and the Mets like where they're at. The best-of-7 series is tied 1-1. They got a couple of big hits from Francisco Lindor and Mark Vientos in Game 2, and that's really the recipe. Good enough pitching, good enough hitting. They'll see how far it takes them. From Dodger Stadium, I'm Tim Healy for NewsdayTV.
Thanks, Tim. Read more about the Yankees and the Mets playoff runs on our homepage. Click Get More below the NewsdayTV video box. Mistakes and missed opportunities plagued Jeff Ulbricht's first game as the Jets interim head coach. With a chance to move into first place in the AFC East, Gang Green fell to Buffalo 23-20 at MetLife Stadium last night. Window panes on the LIRR, as Alfonso Castillo reports, there's no end in sight for the blurry view. It's a story you'll see only in Newsday.
The problem is clear. The Long Island Railroad's windows are not.
If it's bad, it's bad. You can't see.
Now, you can try wiping this off all you want. What you see there is not coming off. That's not dirt or grime that's clouding up your view. It's sun damage from these windows baking in ultraviolet rays for the last 20 years. It's why the problem is worse on the south side facing windows. And unfortunately, the railroad says there's not much they can do about this.
We've talked to different manufacturers, seeing what we could do to, slow that down or, mediate it. To this point, we're unable to do so. But to replace the existing windows would be an exorbitant amount of money and work, as we have to take the car apart to get to those windows.
The sun damage is concentrated on the LIRR's M7 electric cars, which make up the majority of the fleet and use windows made out of polycarbonate material, or plastic. The windows on the LIRR's newest trains, the M9s, use a similar material and could also degrade over time.
For what they charge you, they're charging you for a service. It should be a clean window that you can see. But like I said, if they have to prioritize that, I'm not sure what their budgets are. I have no idea.
LIRR President Robert Free said on future cars, the railroad will return to glass windows like the ones that are still in place on the 1980s era M3 trains. Those cars are still likely years away from rolling out, which means the view won't be getting better for most LIRR riders anytime soon. That's just fine with commuter William Gonzalez.
It's not an issue for me. They can have all these windows blacked out. I'll be okay as long as I get there, it's comfortable.
Beyond just being unpleasant, the windows on some of these trains are so damaged that you can't look inside of them, or out of them for that matter, which can make it pretty confusing to figure out where you are. On the Long Island Railroad, for NewsdayTV, I'm Alfonso Castillo.
Alfonso, thank you. Read more about this story on Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. Our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month continues today with a St. Francis nurse living his American dream. Sherry Einhorn has a story you'll see only in Newsday.
It was a challenge at the beginning.
A dream and the determination to make it come true. Luis Bravo says that's what's always motivated him. He went from working construction in Ecuador to graduating from nursing school here in the United States. He's now working at St. Francis Hospital and Heart Center in Roslyn.
It makes me humble, actually. Like, such a simple thing can make a big difference of anybody's life. That's what I take home. Every time that after a long day, I just look back and say, okay, I helped somebody today. And that makes me happy.
Luis told me he knew no English when he came here at 20 years old, so he went to school to learn it. He worked at JFK Airport, then went to college to become a medical assistant before going back for his nursing degree.
Throughout my clinicals, I met so many Spanish-speaking patients. And I feel like that was the need in this hospital.
Luis works on a stroke unit.
So I fell in love with the unit. I really like the environment, the profile of the nurses, They all help each other.
Luis says he often helps patients with basic translation. He's also working to become a translator in a more official capacity.
You could just feel the kindness that comes off of him. He's someone who's so genuine and caring, who really wants to be there for his patients through the most vulnerable moments that they have in their life. And he's done that incredibly well so far.
Luis told me he has this advice for anyone coming to the U.S. from another country wanting to make a fresh start.
My best advice will be learn English. It's very important. You know, and follow your dreams. If you want to be a constructor, you want to be an engineer, you know, this is a country where you can make anything happen. Look at me.
In Roslyn, I'm Shari Einhorn for NewsdayTV.
Luis, you are definitely needed in hospitals and such an inspiration to so many. Read more exclusive stories like this on Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
A school bus driver in Nassau County was charged with the rape and kidnapping of a 16-year-old student last year. Newsday reveals how someone with a prior sexual abuse allegation was employed and why it was not disclosed during the hiring process. Who should be held responsible? And what can be done to safeguard children? Undisclosed Past, an exclusive Newsday investigation, now available at Newsday.com.
Checking out your hyper-local forecast. A cold start to this Tuesday. Let's take a look at your day planner. Partly cloudy today, highs in the 50s, so make sure you grab your favorite jacket and maybe add extra layers if you can. Well, tomorrow mostly sunny, a little bit warmer, highs in the upper 50s. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Not a bad weather week ahead. Temperatures getting milder for the weekend. That's a look at your forecast.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
I'm Jasmine Anderson. Thank you so much for watching.